Hi, everybody. I thought I would do a New Year's Day, New Year's week message. And I have to admit, I have been struggling with what to say, um, what kind of message I could give that doesn't sound pithy or doesn't sound whatever. Because the new year for me is really a time I do really embrace that whole sense of newness. I love the idea that the holidays are over and now it's a fresh start. And for me, I several years ago, I decided I'd do away with that idea of a resolution, because I'm no good at it. I mean, it's just as simple as that. But then I thought, wait a minute, you know what? I'm going to resolve to bring things into my life, to do things differently. Like instead of a resolution, like I'm going to lose 40 pounds or I'm going to, whatever, walk 800 miles a day. I decided that my resolutions would be more like I resolve not to be as impatient as I have been with people or with projects. I've resolved to look at my life every day with this idea that every day is something new. Every day is a newness. It's a brand new experience of my own life, and I wanted to approach my life with that really a high mystical truth, which is every single day is a blank slate so far as the universe is concerned. It's brand new and anything can happen. Anything can happen. And honestly, that profound mystical truth has been a game changer for me, as has a prayer that I have so often brought to people, which is Thomas Merton: this day will never come again. Every single day, I have seen my life now with more value because I realize every single day is the only day like this and it will never come again. And honestly, it's made me look at people differently, relationships, the way I speak to people, the way I listen, my capacity to be there for people, completely transformed because I really pay attention to the sacred truth that every day will never come again. And then I add to that that life is really very brief. I mean, I look at what happened in New Orleans today. And those people who were in New Orleans, maybe to go to the Sugar Bowl or just there, they didn't expect to lose their life, but it's gone. It's gone. And most of us think, well, the signal that we are beginning our our exit is usually an illness, but it's you don't expect a car driven by a madman to hit you or an explosion like it was in Las Vegas with that Tesla vehicle. You don't expect that, but that's just it. Expect the unexpected. And that is as much an invitation to expect wonder as it is to be mindful that anything can happen any day of our life. And that is the truth. And that type of focus, for me, makes me much more mindful of doing what I want to create, of creating what I want to create, of writing, of teaching, of the messages that I share with others, because I am so mindful that this could be my last day. I don't know, could be. I mean, those people didn't expect it to be their last day on earth, but it was. And so I live with this sense that I don't have forever in this world. And what I have in this world is wondrous. And how can I share it with others? So, to that, because it is New Year's Day, you know what I did? I decided to share a bunch of wisdom from other people with you, just as a way of inspiring the beginning of this year. This is from Henry Van Dyke. Time is too slow for those who wait, too swift for those who fear, too short for those who grieve. I beg your pardon, too long for those who grieve, too short for those who rejoice. But for those who love, time is eternity. Sorry for that misstep. It's a very small print. I love that. That is so inspiring. And here's another one. If you have love, you don't need to have anything else. If you don't have it, it doesn't matter much what else you do have. Love is it. Love's the gift. And I think, at the beginning of the year, somehow we're more receptive to these wisdom teachings than we are as the year goes by, when so much else is cluttering our head. But today, this week, we have an open passage to download some wisdom that actually could reshape how it is we live this coming year of our lives. I believe that life is given to us so we may grow in love. And I believe that God is in me as the sun is in the color and fragrance of a flower. The light in my darkness, the voice in my silence. Helen Keller. Now, I've read 5 biographies of Helen Keller. I don't know what it is about her that absolutely fascinates me. Fascinates me. I think part of it is that I can't imagine a life being blind and deaf. I don't want to imagine it. But her genius, her gift, her power was so incredible that she was able, if she met you, obviously she could never hear your voice, never see your face, but somehow she remembered your vibration. No matter how many years later you walked into the room, she could tell what was in the garden by fragrance. I mean, her other senses had done so much to compensate, but mostly her psychic sense. I mean, everybody knows the story of her and her teacher, Annie, and that maybe that she learned 64 words, I think, that first day that she connected the dot, that the sign language was actually connected to objects. And once she started learning, by the time she was 13, she knew Braille in English and in French. And I mean, and even trying to, I can't even imagine trying to explain what a country was. How do you get the word country and have it mean someone who can't see a map? I mean, she just was something. And and she said that she was born to help the blind see and the deaf hear, and she wasn't referring to people like herself, but to people like us who have our senses because of the judgments we make about handicapped people. Here's another piece of wisdom. I hold this to be the highest task of a bond between two people, that each should stand guard over the solitude of the other. Maria Wilkie. I mean, what a wonderful thing to say, that a gift I can give someone else is to protect their quietness, their need to be alone, to support that. Just a beautiful thing. Think about that, right? Here's one or two. What makes a river so restful to people is that it doesn't have any doubt. It is sure to get where it's going, and it doesn't want to go anywhere else. I think that is a beautiful metaphor. If you think about your whole life, I deeply believe that we have a map in us, that we have purpose, that we have, even down to the second we were born and the second we depart. It is organized within a tapestry of life so complex and so incredible that it's beyond our ken. We can't even begin to imagine it. We really cannot, because we're not supposed to. We can't fit the universe into our brain. But what we can fit into our brain is what we learn through nature, and that nature doesn't want to be other than what it is. Trees don't want to be birds, and birds don't want to be dogs. I mean, nature is so well organized and so managed by invisible forces that we cannot see. We can't see the orbits of the planet. We cannot see the dynamic that we call the tides. We just see the consequences of that gravitational flow. We can't see gravity. You can't see love. You can't see anything that matters. You cannot. we see the consequences of gravity and the consequences of love, so that we know some force is regulating, but we can't see that force. And yet it's organizing everything, including the map of our lives, including that. And I think I have come to believe so deeply that there's pain and suffering in life, but I think suffering is optional. Pain is built into the system. It's very painful to lose people we love. It's very painful to go through hardships like that. Pain, the inevitable part of riding the cycles of life, but suffering. Suffering is another thing. Suffering is what it involves choices we make and the consequences. The decision to be angry and to let angry drive you. You're going to suffer. You're going to make someone else suffer, but you are. The decision to be unforgiving. The decision to hold on to wounds. These are decisions that, while in the moment pride-driven, they feel like a very powerful decision. They're not. They're not at all. They're a decision to choose suffering rather than let the wisdom of so many teachers, from Jesus to Buddha to how many, filter in and command your pride, anesthetize it, so that you can get on with the business of forgiveness and move on. Okay. I thank you, God, for this most amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees, and for the blue dream of sky, and for everything else which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. E. Cummings. You know, I remember when I was in grade school, and high school, and I first encountered the poetry of E. Cummings. I was so inspired by him, the crazy way he wrote, and words going down vertically instead of horizontally, that it inspired me to want to be. I thought of him as radical, not paying attention to the rules, so I wouldn't have to learn the rules of English. And I remember this nun, an English teacher, coming up to me, and she says, I know what you're doing. She said, but in order to break laws that hold together the English language, she says, in order to break the laws like an artist, which E. Cummings is, she said, you have to master those laws first. And she said, so make your decision, become a student, master them, and then figure out how to break them like an artist. So it doesn't look like an accident, but a choice. I'm telling you, I had the best teachers. Every one I can remember something they said that inspired me. Without a doubt, every one of them. They were just extraordinary. Listen to this. Havaz of Persia. One regret, dear world, that I am determined not to have when I'm lying on my deathbed is that I did not love you enough. I don't have to comment on that. It says it all. It says it all. And now this from someone I admire deeply, Chief Seattle. All things are bound together. All things connect. Whatever happens to the earth happens to the children of the earth. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. That's what you call an eternal truth. Absolutely an eternal truth. I love these. I hope you're enjoying this. It seemed like the right thing to do for the first day of the year is to share the wisdom of so many others who have inspired me. Take hold of your own life. See that the whole existence is celebrated. These trees are not serious. These birds are not serious. The river and the oceans are wild, and everywhere there is fun. Everywhere there's joy and delight. Watch existence. Listen to the existence and become part of it. Osho, Buddhist. I love that. And then we have Agnes Nin. Throw your dream into space like a kite, and you do not know what it will bring back. A new life, a new friend, a new love, a new country. Throw your dreams into the space of God. Just throw your dreams. Be bold. Be bold. I mean, that's one thing I don't ever want to die with regrets. I mean, not that I'm planning my exit soon, but I don't want to live with regrets. And that's part of what you bring into a new year, the idea that I'm going to leave regrets behind. If I have to do something about it to make amends, do it. And then get on with bold and dynamic choices. Here's Kahil Gibran. What is it to work with love? It is to weave cloth with threads drawn from your heart, even as if your beloved were to wear that cloth. It is to build a house with affection, even as your beloved were to dwell in that house. It is to sow seeds with tenderness and reap the harvest with joy, even as your beloved were to eat the fruit. It is to charge all things you fashion with a breath of your own spirit. Work is love made visible. Isn't that beautiful? Kahil Gibran. So I'm going to end this with, I mean, I could comment on all of this endlessly, obviously, but I really am hoping to inspire you to feel inspired about your life in this year to come. We are the co-creators of the events that happen in this world. Like Chief Seattle said, we are threads in a weave. And I think all too often, we have no idea how powerful we are. We have no idea. This year I've listened to about, I would say 200 people share their near-death experience. Every one of them, without exception, now that's a big mouthful, comments that when they have their life review, they're shown not the choices they made, but the intention behind the choice. It's the intention that heaven pays attention to. What? Because intention is the power. Intention is the power that fuels the choice. It's not the choice. Your intention is the engine on a long train, and the actual choice is the caboose. You don't realize that every choice matters in this experience of life. You measure life by, jobs and this and that, but that's not how life measures life. That's not how the holy world measures life. It looks like, what are you doing to make this moment better, to make this conversation better, to make that person feel better? It is all about what grace we bring to everything we do. Everything. And if you look at your own life and think about the people who have really helped you the most, it wasn't with anything big. It was because something grace-filled happened, and that was passed on to you. An inspiration, a word of encouragement, whatever it was. Whatever it was. Those are the things I remember. Sure, people have given us gifts or this or that, but the things you remember are the grace-filled moments that actually sink in and become part of your power system. This is the last one I will end with. Henry David Thoreau. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you've imagined. As you simplify your life, the laws of the universe will be simpler. I love that. As you simplify your own life, the laws of the universe will also be simpler because they go hand in hand. Okay, everybody, have a blessed and wondrous new year, 2025. Ooh. Seems like we were just doing the Y2K bit, and now it's 25 years later. How amazing. Bless you all.